Steve, you start by telling us a little bit about what it's been like in the camp in the last couple of days since you know that the playoff place is secured.
Yeah, it's been good. Obviously, players are feeling good about themselves, which they should do. But they also know that we want to finish the campaign well, so more focus on the last 24 hours on the Denmark game, and that will just ramp up towards kick-off. So hopefully we'll be ready to go.
In terms of personnel, you've added Anthony Ralston to your squad. Tell us a little bit about that decision and what he can bring.
But we lost Nathan to second yellow, so you need cover in the right back position. Anthony's had a terrific start to the season with Celtic and fully deserves his call up.
Given what you've seen from him in a Celtic jersey, is he at a level where he realistically could come in and start the game if necessary, even at this late
Anybody
notice?
I pick for the squad is a potential starter. I've said that consistently. I think I've shown that I can call people into the squad and start them in games, so Anthony's no different to anybody else.
In terms of potential absentees from the other night, for instance, will Lyndon Dykes and Scott McTominay make it?
Scott's definitely out. Scott hasn't recovered enough from his virus, so he's definitely out. Lyndon, you've probably seen this morning that he didn't do very much. Lyndon had put it 50-50.
You mentioned Nathan's absence. Such a long list of players on that suspension tightrope. How do you manage that?
Just try and win the game against Denmark. We're not the only country in that position. It's just the nature of the competition. You pick up yellow cards. Players at the top level who play a lot of matches are used to playing matches with a yellow card suspension hanging over them. We just deal with it as we can, like I said before, as long as we get a normal referee. The players are experienced enough to know how to handle the situation, so that's how we'll approach it. And there's also the fact that the yellow cards carry all the way through, so you could try and protect some and then pick up yellow cards in the Denmark game, pick up yellow cards in the first playoff game, get to the playoff final and have the same scenario. So there's also 4 months to March. It's a long time in football.
What's the mindset like then ahead of this one, where you know that the ultimate aim has been achieved in terms of the playoff place, but still work to be done to improve that seeding and try and get the home game here at Hampden?
I'm going to pull you up on that one because the ultimate aim hasn't been achieved. The ultimate aim is to get to Qatar 2022. So to come out to be in a position coming out of the group stage that we're still involved going into the March playoff games is where we were after we lost to Denmark away. We realised that second place was attainable, was the position that we had to aim for. 5 consecutive victories have made sure that we've secured that one, but the ultimate aim is still ahead.
Steve, on the importance of trying to get a home semi-final, I mean, a lot of the players maybe hadn't experienced Hampden like it was against Israel last month. Is that almost kind of fired them up to try and get this game at home in March, because it was such a kind of special atmosphere occasion as well?
I think the atmosphere in that game was great. The fans were fantastic and probably helped us over the line towards the end of the game when you get the late winner. The atmosphere after that was good, but we've also shown that we can go away from home and dig out a victory in difficult circumstances away from home. So if ultimately we have to play away from home in the first game, we won't go there with any fear.
And just on Denmark, you showed in the second half over there that you can compete with them. Is that something that and since then you've won all these games, is that something you'll take into the tomorrow night's game, that you improved a lot during that game?
I think we improved during that game. Obviously there was a period in the first half, and it was quite a short period actually. When you look back at the game and analyse the game, it was quite a short period. I actually pointed out to the players that between the first and second goals was less than 30 seconds. If you take out all the celebrations and go back just to when we kicked off, conceded possession, they scored again almost immediately. So it was a crazy little spell where we lost our composure. I think we've learned from it, and hopefully we can show that on Monday night.
And just another word on Lyndon Dykes. When you obviously mentioned he was wanting to travel to Moldova to watch the game, he's up here now when he's 50-50. That just kind of shows how desperate he is to play for Scotland.
No, they're all the same. All the lads want to be here. I spoke about it when I was in Spain. Everybody wants to be here, they want to be part of it, and that's how you build your squad, that's how you get that mentality, that's how you get that spirit, and Lyndon's a big part of that for us.
Steve, just in terms of this togetherness of of the squad. You know, we hear a lot from the players about this. We had John Souter in Sportstown this week. He'd just been in the camp a few hours and said he already felt that this club feel about it. Can you tell us what you feel when you meet up with the lads on these occasions?
I feel great because I'm working again after 3 weeks sitting in the house, or in the case of the next international break, 16 weeks sitting in the house. So it's not. I think as a coach, you're always looking at your players coming in, trying to gauge their mood, how they are. I know it was mentioned before camp that one or two had probably not ideal preparations with their clubs in terms of results and in terms of playing matches, but when they come here, they put on their Scotland heads, if you like, and immediately get back together. You can see the bond that they've got. You can see that immediately. They come in, they're all saying hello to each other, and then they always find their little groups, the little groups that they're happy in, and it seems to be a good mixture at the time. But one of the things I would say is it's more difficult to do if you're not winning matches or if you're not being successful. So the more success we get, the more matches we win, the better that spirit will be.
And in terms of the squad, the progression of the squad since you took over, we look at Ralston coming in. He's had a fantastic start to the season. It seems to be that in most positions now you have lots of options. How would you assess the progression of the squad since you took over?
I think there has been a progression, so that was the most important thing. Obviously, when you go into any new job, it takes a little bit of time to understand the job, what needs to be done, what needed to change. It took me a little bit of time to find out the best way. Started to come together after I've spoken about it before, you always have a low point and then you try to build from there. So from the October camp, when we lost to Russia, we managed to build on that. We're finishing with 3 victories in that particular section, which kicked off a run. Obviously COVID interrupted, was difficult, but it kicked off a run where we started to pick up victories, good performances, improving all the time. It's just been a slow progression. I think we've done well. I said, maybe not too many remember, I said it was a section where teams would take points off each other, so I was never too concerned about the so-called slow start that we had. The 5 points for the first 4 games, I knew there was always a chance to turn that round. But I also said, going into the Euros, that coming out of the Euros, we would be a better squad and a better team. And I think, without giving myself too much credit, I think that's been proved as well.
Yeah, you've also great faith, haven't you? I know you said that the so-called slow start, and there's been a few occasions, I think, of late where you've had a wee nibble at some of the media. Do you think some of the comments along the way have been a bit harsh in terms of the squad, some of the results, some of the performances?
The media have got a job to do, and I understand. I've been in the game a long time, so I understand that you guys have got a job to do, and if you want to have a nibble at us, or if you want to put a little bit more pressure on us, that's fine. We have to deal with that, and I think we have dealt with it quite well. Last couple.
Can I just one question? What are you expecting from Denmark tomorrow night? I was speaking to some of our Danish friends here, and they were saying, well, I'll answer that by saying, did you see the reaction of Schmeichel when they lost that late goal the other evening? So you're expecting them to be absolutely at it tomorrow night? Oh,
they'll be at it. No doubt they'll want to go through the group with a perfect record, and you saw the reaction to conceding the goal, so that's one record that they can't have. They can't go through the campaign without conceding because they've already conceded, but they can reach 30 points, and I'm sure that's what they want to do. Looking at their squad, it looks as though they've got 1 or 2 issues and 1 or 2 different faces around, but we'll still be a really good Danish team that comes here.
Mr. Clarke, I'm Kian from Danish TV. Would you say that this is the best moment for you to play Denmark, considering that they've already secured their spot at the World Cup, and as you also mentioned, a couple of injuries as well?
It's probably the best moment because we've actually secured the 2nd place as well, so that takes a little bit of the pressure off the game for us. Obviously we want to finish the campaign well, and I'm sure Denmark will want to finish it well also. The full house here at Hampden will make it a great atmosphere, so the Danish players will be up for the game, because you know when you put professional footballers into a good atmosphere, they always perform to their maximum. So we expect a tough challenge, and hopefully we can be good opponents for a very good Danish team, I have to say.
Yeah, you've played great sides in the last couple of years at the Euros. You played England. How would you kind of compare the Danish team and the quality they have with kind of the top sides that you faced during the last couple of years?
No, I think when you look at the performance of Denmark in the Euros, when they took England all the way in the semi-final, was a great achievement from the Danish team. I think they have a good depth of squad, so although I'm saying that they're missing one or two players, injury missing, they still have a good depth of squad, so we expect a tough game. They finished joint third, if you like, in the Euro, so that tells you that at this moment in time Denmark are one of the best teams in Europe, so we respect that, and obviously we go out there to play as well as we can against them, and hopefully we can finish the campaign on a high.
And lastly, obviously everyone saw what happened with Eriksen and how the team responded. How do you feel in a kind of a football way that they've responded? How have the team kind of found their way to play after losing Eriksen?
I think anybody who watched that incident in the summer couldn't help but be moved by it, the reaction of the Danish players, the Danish crowd, and then obviously you lose a teammate out the squad in those circumstances. It's going to galvanise you, and it did that for the Danish team in the tournament. There's no surprise that they lost the game that they were playing in, that they had to finish. But the reaction to that, the way they finished, especially in the game against Russia, was fantastic. And from there, it seemed to ignite a fire in the squad that they've carried all the way through, even till now.
So how would you think that, in terms of how they've kind of which players do you feel have kind of risen to the challenge and filled the gap after Eriksen?
The lad, I think he's not in the squad. Damsgaard came into the squad and did fantastically well. Credit to the head coach. They found a fantastic way to play with Damsgaard dropping into the little pocket and behind. He actually caused us a lot of problems in Denmark, as I'm sure you know, and it's probably why you asked us the question. Damsgaard's out, but I'm sure they've got someone else that can play in that type of position. But Damsgaard in particular in the tournament in the summer, I thought was exceptional.